So here, this is my first slide. I have taken it purposely. What is this? This is the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India's logo, right? So you can see an elephant over there, right? So this elephant, it is from Ajanta cave number 1. And about Ajanta, it is the first World Heritage Site of India, back before the Taj Mahal as well. And it is the one of the most iconic sites of India, and the first planned tourism destination of India. It has received grants from Japan's Bank for International Cooperation, nearly 1,000 crore rupees. The project is named as Ajanta Ellora Development Project, and we are having a world-class visitor orientation center over there. That is also the first one of its kind. So when I'm talking about Ajanta, here I would like to tell the students that what you're going to take from my lecture. Number one, you try to, develop some new packages while reading or while going through my lecture. How can you develop such some niche products like music tourism is there, and then spiritual tourism is there, textile is there. I will be telling you in between, but try to be like creative while hearing it, like how can you brand the products, how can you develop the product, because most of the students they will be going into some entrepreneurship, or maybe they will be working with some travel agency, tour operation companies, or whatever, they'll be working with government bodies. So I want you all to just do one thing, that write some notes, develop some new packages related to this area. And I'm not sure right now where all of you are from, but I'm just assuming that you are from all over India, right? So some must be from South India, some must be from Maharashtra, some may be from North India as well. So you all try to develop that. We will take that in question and answers as well. So this is the map of India. Of course, Maharashtra is there, and the two dots what you are seeing here is Ajanta and Ellora. Of course, when we talk about the overall package of Aurangabad here, it inculcates Ajanta, Ellora, Bibi Ka Maqbara, Panchaki, and many other sites over here, Pitalkhora caves. Now here you can see here the ancient city is in purple color and blue color, city and cave sites, and red one. Just concentrate on the red one. Those are the cave sites. So in between you can see Pittalkhora caves. These are the most ancient caves in our area from 2nd century BC. And you can see Ellora caves and then Ajanta caves as well, right? Okay, this is the next picture. Now this is how Ajanta looks, from the bird eye view. You can see like it is a horseshoe shaped, and there are 28 caves over here. Starting the latest cave, the oldest cave is cave number 10. I will be telling you that. Now this is the map. You can see here on the left side, these are shuttle services. From there, the tourists, they are taken to the counter, ASI office. Some ticket counter is there, and from there you have to walk to this cave. You can see numbers over there. These are the caves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and till cave number 26. You can go. You have to just walk through it, and you will be able to see all the caves. So period of excavation, I'll just take quickly this. This was, the caves were built from 2nd century BC to 6th century AD. So it was a huge time. So this paint, and it is famous for the paintings and sculptures as well. So you can see 2nd century paintings are quite different from the 6th century or 4th or 5th century AD paintings. Now here you can see the again one of the maps of Ajanta. See the red color what you see over here is from 2nd century BC. It is cave number 10. The pink color from 1st century BC. The others yellow ones are from 1st century AD. Green ones are from the 4th century AD. Light greens again end of 4th century, and then you can see orange color from 5th century. and the last, the decline stage, 6th century AD. So that is purple color, what you can see, cave number 26. Then patronages. Who gave patronages to build the spheres? Those were the Satavahanas, Vakatakas, and the Chalukyans. And in 1819, it was caves were abandoned for almost 1,200 years. And in 1819, some officers, they went for an expedition of hunting, and they rediscovered it. Although the theories are quite different relating to various researchers, right? So it was rediscovered in 1819, and since then, a lot of activities were held on at Ajanta. Now the caves are divided into 5 chaityas and 24 viharas. I will be telling you about the art and architecture of the chaityas and viharas. Like you can see, the red ones are the viharas and the yellow ones are the chaityas. Chaityas, of course, this is the facade of the chaitya. It is known as what you can see, the window. We call it sun window. It is also called as gavaksha, means sun window, which gives natural sunlight throughout the day. And this is the interior of the chaitya. Like I told you, what is a chaitya? It is a prayer hall that houses a stupa. Now, what is stupa? Stupa is an object of worship in the form of mold or heap containing relics of Buddha or senior Buddhist monks. Of course, the architecture of stupa, it varies from place to place. But in Ajanta, we have this one. Like you can see this vaulted nave down there. The next you can see is pillared easel. That is, pillars are there. Of course, it is everything is rock cut. Then you see the main structure, that is the stupa, and you can see the idol of Lord Buddha over here. Chhatris are there, and the arch roof. This is very important. Arch roof, the roof is also rock cut. And then that was about. This is about the vihara. Okay. Now vihara is the hall of residence for the monks and students and traders and travelers. Why I'm telling the traders and travelers? Because these were the people who also give patronage over here. And the second thing is that they used to visit this place. Now, the architecture of a vihara, you can see the entrance, and there in between you can see a hall is there, and the right and left hand side you can see the cells. Cells means those are like small rooms, again rock cut, and you can just see one rock bed is there for the monks and the travelers to stay over there. And at the end, you can see there is a huge shrine of Lord Buddha. So this was about the vihara and the phases of excavation. Of course, you all must have studied the various tourist products of India. It is divided, and the Buddhist phases, yana means a vehicle or a way for going to enlightenment. So it is divided into 2 parts, that is Hinayana and Mahayana. Hinayana means what? It is from the phase from 2nd century to 1st century BC, where the Buddhist phase where the stupa was worshipped. Okay. And in Mahayana, then what happened? The Buddha in human form, it was worshipped. That was after 4th century AD. Now these are the caves, which are, you can see the purple ones, those are from Hinayana, and the pink ones, those are from Mahayana phase. You can see the Vagora river, which is flowing there. And let me tell you, students, the Mahayana or Hinayana phase caves, those were also being renovated in Mahayana phase. So the themes of paintings, like I told you, it is famous for paintings and the sculptures. Lot of Jataka stories are there. Then life of Buddha, you can see. Some solo pictures are there. Then daily life, you can see of the people at those times, and places of palace and courtrooms. You can see flora, fauna. You can see some foreigners. Of course, when we talk about Ajanta, the women over there are considered to be very, very beautiful. So I will show you some pictures of women. Then arms and weapons also. Now this is relating to one of the stories of the birth of Buddha. Like I told you, Jataka stories are there. You can see on the right side, she is Mahamaya, that is the mother of Lord Buddha, and she's holding a shala tree up, means while giving birth to Lord Buddha. And after the birth of Lord Buddha, you can see the gods, they have come to give the blessings. So such type of stories you can see along with the flora, fauna and everything. And some solo pictures are there. These two are very, very famous solo pictures, Vajrapani and Padmapani, right? So left hand side, you can see Vajrapani. You can see how his pictures are like, beach jewelry, like lot of jewelry you can see, and backside you can see some floral designs as well. Then on the right side, you see Padmapani. It is one of the most beautiful paintings and near to perfect paintings of Ajanta. If you just go, if you see it very closely, you can see the man, the structure of this body. You can see it is very manly, very beautiful, and again, visual. You can see the necklace. It is there, and here you can see, in the necklace there is a precious stone called as lapis lazuli. It is blue in color, and he's holding a lotus flower. That's why it's called as a Padmapani. Now here, daily life. As you are in front of your computers, I've just taken two pictures over here. Now the picture what you see at the down end, it is a lady, she's combing the hair of another lady, right? And she's looking here to us, that lady who is combing the hair. So this type of picture, sorry, paintings you can see, they are very, very, different phases of painting, they are different, right? So this, and you can see the other painting, a lady, I'm saying two men and a lady, they are sitting somewhere, under the roof. So this is again a 3D picture which was painted of those times. So definitely you can here say that those artists or the monks who were artists or the people who are artists, they were of a very, uh, you know, uh, they were having very good knowledge about the painting and all other aspects. So here you can see other aspects like some geometrical designs are there. Let me tell you, students, the paintings of Ajanta, they were painted on the wall and the ceiling as well. So on the ceilings, usually you find the geometrical figures and the floral designs as well. So these are the figures you can see. Then, as I told you, animals are there. You can see the motion pictures. The elephant which you see, it is in motion. Then some mythical birds also you can see. And this is a clown and some hilarious picture also you can see. See these two men, they are sitting over here and they are having maybe some wine or some drink. They are talking or maybe chatting, something like that. And you can see the turbans, different turbans. They are wearing some ornaments as well. White color clothes, of course, and he is wearing something like socks. We can call today socks, but I don't know what they call then. But then it is colorful and such type of paintings you can see at Ajanta. Some foreigners also you can see over here. Then, of course, women. Now, these are the two pictures. Madam, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
You are
Okay,
audible.
okay. Yeah, yeah. So, you can see these two pictures of women, right? So, in the first picture, you can see the woman, she's looking upward. This is not too near perfection picture, the left one, but you can see, how the shadows are there on her cheeks and the kind of ornaments she's wearing, those are from the later phase of Ajanta painting. But what you see on in this picture on the right side, these three women are there. You can see different postures, right? One is looking back, one is looking up, one is looking in front, and the lady, she's holding something in her hand, and you can see, her hairstyle and how the hairs are flowing. So such type of details were there in the paintings. And the most important thing over here is about the expression, or we call it bhava. So most of the paintings which were in the classical period, painted in the classical period, are having bhava or expressions. You can see different types of bhava. Maybe it can be sensual, or maybe it can be the anger or happy, in all modes. Not only the woman, but all other characters in paintings. So this is again the two paintings which are very, very famous in Ajanta. The left one is the Black Princess. She's out to be the most beautiful paintings in Ajanta. You can see her crown, you can see her necklace and her bow. She is shy. And the right one, it is a flying Apsara. It is on the outer cell, outside of the cave number 17. And it is called as flying Apsara, as you can see the details, the turban which she's wearing, it is very fashionable. And you can see her jewelry, it is hanging around like, when the air moves, her jewelry also is moving. Her, she's having some conches, some instruments in her hand. You can see her bangles and, of course, her expressions. So these are some of the famous women in Ajanta. This is again a very important painting. It is called as toilet scene. There are three women. It will look blurred, but just try to see it closely. A lady who is there, she's out to be from maybe a royal family, and she's holding a mirror in her hand, and the reflection of the mirror, is on her necklace, right? And when you actually go to this cave, you go to this cave and see this particular painting. It is on the right side at the end of the cave. So you literally find, the necklace, it is shining. So such type of detailings you can see at Ajanta. And next, the pigments, of course, nudity is there. You can see most of the women, they are nude. And I will show you some pictures of cave number 10 that is very, very ancient from the 2nd century BC. Now you must be wondering, like, what must be the pigments used at Ajanta, right? So this is, I've taken this from the Visitor Orientation Center, like the base, how they used to prepare the base. It was a basalt rock over there. And you can just imagine how hard it is, to develop the base for doing paintings, right? Even at those times. So what they used probably with 10 to 12% combined water, they had used organic matter like the vegetables, fibers, paddy husk, grass, and also some rock grit or sand like silica, iron, alumina, and lime and magnesia. Now we can clearly see over here the composition, that is ferruginous earth reinforced with rock grit or sand and fibrous vegetable materials. So these are some of the colors which I had taken from the orientation centers. This is the black color which they use. You can see some paintings. They have used the black color for the hair, or maybe to design something on their skirts or maybe on the ceilings, right? So black color is used. Then blue colors, as I told you, in one of the paintings, that is Padmapani, in the necklace you can see engraved the one of the precious stone, that is lapis lazuli, which is blue in color. Now this lapis lazuli is found in two places around the world, that is Afghanistan and Chile in South America. But maybe this was in the trade route area, trade route center in trade route map. So maybe it was imported. And you can see again the blue colors, right? In the socks and some flowers and in the paintings down there at the pillars. And then next is green color. This is glauconitic is used. A lot of green color is there. Then ochre, of course, orange color, you can see it on a very large scale. And this must be probably from the pulps and all. I'm very happy to tell you that we are doing a very important research program, research project with the DST, that is Department of Science and Technology. I've recently got this project, and I'm working very closely with Department of Chemical Technology in our university, and we are working on the same aspect, that is the pigmentation, pigments at Ajanta. That is, we have taken cave number 10 and cave number 17, and we'll be working how the aging was there, because from 2nd century BC painting, it is a very technical thing. Though if any point in future, I would love to give a lecture on that as well. But here, as this is a very preliminary lecture, just concentrate on the colors. This is red color again. Red colors are used here. You can see down. This is an elephant, and in some of the paintings you can see it. White color, as I showed you in other paintings as well. So the down end, you can see the ceiling painting, right? So this ceiling painting is having a lot of white color, which was obtained from lime, gypsum, and kaolin. And of course, so this was about the pigmentation. As I made it only for the students, I didn't go much in detail. So now let us see about the dance and musical heritage over there. Now, like I told you, all the students keep it in mind that, now the tourists, they need something new, right? Now that you have a lot of opportunity now, like we are having this pandemic, you're sitting home, your teachers are taking such a lot of efforts, to give you knowledge relating to the various tourism products all over India, maybe the world also. They are taking so much efforts. Just don't say it, forget it. No, nothing like that. You just have to see how you can develop some niche tourism products, like maybe the some products related to dance. You can develop some circuits, take the tourists from one place to another, showing them our ancient music heritage, and develop some 4 to 5 days package, and see how it works. You have a lot of time also to develop the costing of these packages as well. So use maximum creativity, like us. I always tell, I love to talk to the students because these are the ones, you are exposed to so much of knowledge, so much, while having internet access and everything, and you can develop such good packages. So dance and music
Yes, ma'am.
heritage, of course, you can develop some packages. Now we will see music and heritage dances at Ajanta Caves. This is cave number 10, and this is one of the oldest paintings, right, from 2nd century BC. So you can just imagine how old it is. Look at the pigments, look at the women, look at their style. When we talk about moving in the cave, some researcher has said that it is like going through a rock book. So you can just imagine, if you just want to know about the culture, lifestyle, art, heritage, anything related to history of India, sorry, history or not of India, sorry, of Asia. Anyone, he or she, has to definitely visit Ajanta, right? So that is the reason why it is one of the first World Heritage Sites. Now back to this painting, you can see this woman, right? They are wearing pallo on their head, and downside it is completely nude, and they are wearing a lot of jewelry, like necklaces are there. They are having bands. They are having a lot of beautiful skirts. Now at the left side down, you can see a lady. She's tilting down. Her hand is on her hip. Okay, and look at her necklace. It is flowing down. Okay, so it's flowing down means what? That she's been moving. That means she's dancing. So this was one of the most ancient paintings, where dance is depicted. Not only dance, but just look at our culture, the dress, and like I told you, this was before classical period, so we'll not find much bhava in it. But these paintings are also very, very beautiful. Look at their skirts, like zigzag and cross. I'm just keeping it for a while so that the student look it very minutely. This is the difference between how you present it in the class and online. Anyways, this is the painting. This is again rather a sophisticated, you can call. Well, like that was from the 2nd century. This was from the AD painting. This is a dancer and musicians. You can see here the woman who is dancing. She is a dancer from the court. Just look at her skirt, look at her dress, it is highly sophisticated. You can see it is a tailor-made muslin cloth is there. It is full sleeved, and you can see there is a cut near her hip, right? And what kind of jewelry she is wearing. And here the dance styles and the artists were painting at that time, right? So they introduced the Tribhanga pose. Tribhanga means tilted three. So you can see her hips move, and how sensual, how beautiful it looks, right? You can see the other woman also there. And here about the musical heritage, you can see this small drums are there. Of course, the big vertical drums you can see here, right? Then Symbols are there in their hand, and you can see this lady with the flute, the another lady with another flute. You can see. So this is all the musical heritage you can see at Ajanta. Of course, fashion, I just didn't want to miss it because when we talk about, you can develop some packages related to fashion tourism, or you can just target the students who are studying fashion technology, not only in India, but abroad as well. Maybe, we are talking about Paris today, it is a fashion, well, just imagine, in India, we were having such type of fashion since 2nd century BC, 4th century AD. Look at their skirts. The woman costume over here, this different styles, like you can see the queen's costume and then different women's costume. I cannot give a detail because of lack of time, but just imagine, the woman who is standing, the way she's holding her scarf, and the lady she's having that we call it kamar patta, and on her leg also she's having some decorative, accessories. So this was the fashion of those times. Just have a glance, please. And next is this is related to the children, the women, and of course the foreigners are there. So again, have a glance. You can. I showed you the picture of the dancing girl costume. It is sketched over here. You can see one of the pictures. You know how tailor-made they are. Yeah, I'll go to the next. Some foreigners' costumes are there, and these are the men's costume. You can see, the king's costume. It is different to minister's costume. Then royal bodyguards, then doorkeepers, how they used to wear, and of course some jewelry also is shown over here, right? And there are a lot of peta, what we call it, turbans. Turbans also there on a very large scale over here. And of course, when we talk about jewelry and hairstyle. Now, this is again, when we talk about women, these are again the beautiful women over there. Like I told you, nudity is seen in Ajanta. The jewelry, I want to just focus on the jewelry and hairstyle over here. Look at their hair. This is probably from the Baroque period where, they put a lot of jewelry on the paintings. So the woman she's wearing the necklace, and look at her hairstyle. There are, along with the flowers, you can see so many accessories, right? Different types of hairstyles are there, and there are many, many, but I just put some few over here because the lecture is related to tourism management, which I will be telling in the next slide as well. Look at the skirts and the jewelry. Please take a glance at it, all the students. I won't be able to tell you all, in detail, like pointing out or something because it is an online lecture. And right, so let us go to the next picture here. This you can see again. See the lady. She's again the dancing woman. You can see her earring. We call it now. Uh, it's very simple, round, and some silks are there, some beads are there. Look at her hairstyle, look at her crown, okay? The other ladies also, they are having bangles. You can see the lady who's dancing, she's even having, what do you call it, fingering. Fingering also is there with her. Bangles are there, very sophisticated jewelry you can see. Like one I've shown you at, that was of the toilet scene as well. You can see some arms and weapons also in the paintings. So just take a glance, bows and then swords, planes and some helmets also you can see. Sculpture, the first description given of Ajanta was by Onsen, ancient traveler. So these are the sculptures, that is elephant sculpture, this is from cave 16. Then these are some 4 deers with one head at the pillars. See, the pillars at Ajanta, when we used to go with our teachers, when I was doing my master's in tourism, right? So we used to go with some experts to see Ajanta caves. And our teacher, they used to tell us, literally to measure, the geometry of the pillars and the design. So we found that it was near to perfect, right? So you can just imagine how hard efforts they must be taken then to build this beautiful heritage. Now, this is again one of the important sculptures from Cave 26. This is Mahaparinirvana of Lord Buddha. Again, you can see expressions, see the body, and these are some of the sculptures over there. Now, let me tell you at a glance, when we talk about the paintings, these are divided into four aspects. I've taken these notes from Dr. Swaminathan from IIT, and some of the aspects I had taken from very, very good books from the Archaeological Survey of India. These were divided into pre-classical, that is second to first century BC. Now we are having Pittal Khora caves. Okay, if you all want to develop some good packages, don't forget to include the Pittal Khora caves over here. Those are again near to Ajanta. Those are again very ancient ones. Those are pre-classical period, and then classical period was from 4th to 5th century. Period of Mannerism. See, I'll tell you, the painting style and everything changed by different centuries. Then Baroque period is there, 6th century AD again, and then period of decline. You'll see in the decline period paintings, the paintings were not of like very, very perfect. You can see the woman, their hands are a little big, or maybe it's lacking bhava, what I told you, expressions which we see in the classical period, and all right. So this was about Ajanta. And now let me tell you about the various aspects of tourism over here, as you all of the tourism students. I had told you about the Ajanta Ellora Development Project, right? So what they have done over here, right? Conservation of the monuments, I'll show you some pictures. Upgradation of the core infrastructure is done. Water supply, electricity, communication, there are a lot of aspects were taken into consideration to improve the accessibility, then airport road connection and important railheads. Then things were taken into consideration related to environmental management as well. Like they had introduced some eco-friendly buses, then afforestation was done, low pollution local transportation, then like I told, eco-friendly buses, then encroachments were there, those were removed. Then visitor management system was implemented, circular plans were there, sorry, circulation plans, landscaping was there, tourist amenities, cave illumination, the harsh lights were removed and very subtle lights were placed over there, the signages were there, media publicity, of course, this was also again one of the important aspects of this particular project, that is AEDP. National and international print and audio, visual publicity also was there. Now you can see the structural conservation. Let me tell you, our Aurangabad circle, we are very much in touch with the chemical department in the Archaeological Survey of India, and it is doing a wonderful job. We always collaborate, have some programs with them to show the students how conservation preservation is there. We take into consideration like how even the school children, the colleges children, we can bring them, show them, like when you study chemistry, this is also one of the careers what you can take after doing your chemistry study, like conservation of the caves and all. We have Mr. Mishra sir is there, Shrikant Mishra sir is there, many other people who are working very hard for restoration of these caves. Like you can see caves over here, restoration of pillars is there, restoration of the facades is there, structural integrity is there, then prevent separation of rocks also, it is done over here. This is of course not of Ajanta, but Ellora cave number 16, that is Kailash temple. Chemical conservation is going on. Ellora also comes in ADP, that is Ajanta Ellora Development Project, to arrest weathering or external rock surfaces and monuments. Then cleaning of paintings and sculptures. This is a very important, a very minute and detailed thing. We were having Dr. Manager Singh sir, used to give us lectures, and he used to tell us about how the things, how the paintings are getting exposed, and getting destroyed due to a lot of tourists over there, because you find holiday times tourists just rush over there, 10,000 tourists, 15,000 tourists at a time. It becomes so difficult. So, you used to always say like, how the conservation, it is like slow and specialized work, and they also have to keep some space for new coming technology. So it is, and preserving the paintings is not an easy thing, right? So it needs a very, very, very detailed research. Like there is, I'm talking about one of the women of Ajanta paintings, and look at her eyes, her bhava is there, expression is there in the eyes, right? Now, if somebody comes and haphazardly starts conserving her face or her eyes or maybe her eyebrows, what will happen? The main thing, the bhava, the expressions, everything will be destroyed. So it is not, it's a very, very minute thing. So I really appreciate the work of archaeological survey of India who are doing a very good job over here. Then you have this preservation of rock surface and prevention of water seepage. Like we had faced summers, now rainy season is there. It is obvious that through the rocks there could be a seepage of the water inside. Like I told you, the paintings are right from the ceilings to the walls, right? So to avoid this, they have developed such type of cement structures around on the top so that to prevent the water seepage inside the cave. They also do the fumigation on a very large scale. Like one day it is off, and on that day they do the conservation of this cave. Fumigation means they just throw off the gases over there, which kills the microorganisms. And then this is they have developed such type of widened the steps, the tourist circulation plans. They have developed this so that the tourists move around easily. And then roads also they have developed. I'll not go much detail into it. This was the interconnectivity which was developed. Widening of the roads, you can see. Of course, airports also, they developed the installation of navigational equipment there and air conditioning, and then extension was done. Then electricity also, implementation agency was MSETB, and then augmentation of electric supply to Ajanta and Ellora was there. The water supply was there. Raising heights of Tondapur Dam was there, and this is the way how they developed the installation and filtration plants over here, and the water was supplied up there at the Ajanta and Ellora caves. Of course, afforestation, as I told you, to reduce the pollution, they did a lot of afforestation project. Then improve the pathway. This was at the Ajanta viewpoint at the caves. So some things were the landscaping, as I told you, for the tourists to enhance their experience. Such type of landscaping also was done. This is again one of the pictures, and then directional or signages boards are there. Then, of course, the Sulabh Suvidha Kendras and encroachments were removed long back. And then generator room and equipment for illumination of that is they are using now fiber optic systems, fiber light, which will not harm the paintings. Okay, because what happened is that when it was Ajanta was open to the visitors, we have a lot of graffiti on the paintings. So nowadays they are taking a lot of care, and then fiber optic lights illumination was there. This is a creation of at T junction, that is called as T point, where the tourist people they can come and do shopping over here, and bus bay is there, shopping complex is there. So this way, these are the eco-friendly buses, like I told you. Then visitor orientation center is there. This is one of its kind. I've really seen so many places all over the world. But I always say that, oh my God, our visitor center is very, very sophisticated. It's very good, the information which is given. Like what some of the slides I have taken from this visitor orientation centers. It is looks this way. I couldn't put much pictures, but these are the information galleries. They have placed some so, statues of some monks over there and all. They have done it very, very beautiful, taking into consideration each and aspects of Buddhist tourism in Asia, then heritage and everything is there. So, and yeah, I forgot to tell you, this is, to avoid a lot of rush inside the caves, they have already developed the replica of the caves, right? So, if at a chance, it happens that these caves are closed, then we already have replicas. Those are also very, very good. You can just have a glance at it. It's very, very beautiful. Like when we talk about developing package for Ajanta, you can take the tourist for maybe 1 day or 2 day. 1 day is enough. But of course, if they are very specialized, if you want to show the tourists um, related to the paintings or something like that. Or maybe, like I told you, niche tourism products. Why can't you start like textile tourism is there? I know some professors who are doing work on this. My friend Paramita, Dr. Paramita from IGNOU, she is working, she has written some papers on this. So textile tourism, you can develop some good packages, as I told you, like, how for fashion technology students, you can develop this. Europeans, Americans, literally they'll go crazy after looking at these paintings, and our fashion in second century BC and all this. Then you can also develop some food trials also, like develop some packages related to the ancient food. Like yesterday, I was seeing a, serial on, some food serials was there that was related to the ancient food, how it was done, and they were showing something related to the brinjal. So here you can just take some pictures, the floral, the fauna, the fruits and vegetables at Ajanta, and develop some, like how ancient India, how this type of food culture was there. You can develop that also. And then when we talk about Ajanta, of course, cultural tourism is there, but what I feel is that spiritual tourism is becoming very, very famous here over here, because once you go and sit at any of the, the temples, the chaityas over here, you'll find, different type of aura, different type of energy, And the Americans and the European tourists with whom I had visited the cave or whom I have talked to, interviewed them, they were so much impressed by this particular heritage and the aura over there. It is literally a spiritual destination. So you can develop spiritual tourism packages, yoga packages as well. And that was from my side. The last picture here, this is also from cave number 10. You can see I showed you a woman. This is a man over there. He's having again a jewelry, and some turbans are there, and see how beautifully they have painted it then as well, right? So this was from my side. I'm just seeing the time. It is 1.17. That is, we are having another 15 minutes, I suppose. So I would like to take the question. Madam?
Haji, thank you so much for this session. And I would like the participants, if you want to ask questions, please write down in the chat box. Just let me check if there is any question. There's just a comment. One participant is asking, what changes have we discovered from the painting from 2nd century to 6th century?
Oh, 2nd century BC to 6th century AD. Lot of changes are there. Like I told you, I have a different presentation on that, a complete different one. But see, what has happened is that the pigments, what they use in different centuries were different. Okay, the colors, the style. Okay, and the artists who used to come over there, again, they were having different knowledge about them. So, like I told you, pre-classical period is there and the classical period, and then decline stage, right? These 3, 4 stages are there. So what you can see is there is a change in the pigments, there is a change in the style, there is a change in the expression, there is a change, like you see in Baroque period, you can see the eyes, they are elongated, right? So that those were not there in 2nd century BC. Those they like the painters they had, and they used to have draw the eyes very broadly, elongated. So these were some of the changes. Even the dress style changed. All this, and whatever what they used to study. This was again, there is a theory that the Ajanta is one of the ancient universities. So many people used to come over there, and they used to study, they used to pray, and so many vihara means students were of course over there, monks were there. So as the time passed, all the things changed. So you will have it cave number 10 different, it is different to cave number 17, entirely different, right? So the style, design, pigments, it goes. And it's a very good question. Whoever is asking, you can just talk to me or mail me. I will tell you in detail.
He's one of our
I
students.
can, yeah, I can go on and on and on, but time, So ask him to, if he wants in detail, I will definitely.
Okay. I'll connect him to you. Any other questions? I think so. Okay. Uh, can you shed some light on efforts being made on conservation and preservation of the paintings?
Yeah,
The
Danish,
presentation.
I have already, yeah, I have already told about the conservation and preservation part, right? Like how the ASI, I have given like something, 14, 15 slides are there on the conservation, preservation, like the facades, and how the paintings are conserved, how the sculptures are conserved. They are using chemicals, they're using herbal chemicals as well. And, like I told you, we are already got a project on this. Of course, ASI is doing a very good job. So you can find some research articles from their gallery as well. So I think I have told about the art conservation and preservation.
As you have said that the replica of the caves have been made at Ajanta, are
Yeah,
the
yeah,
tourists using those replicas? They are in use right
yeah,
now?
yeah, yeah. Of course, the tourists go over there to see the replicas. But as you know, the main caves are open, so they are more interested in seeing the main caves because
Okay.
Ajanta is like 102 kilometers from Aurangabad. So going and seeing them, but definitely they go and visit the visitor orientation center, and they also visit the replicas. Especially the students, they go.
So these replicas are okay. These replicas are near to the caves, or they are somewhere
No,
else
it is
only.
near, very near, in visitor orientation
Okay.
centers.
Acha, the visitor orientation center is having
Yeah,
the
yeah,
replicas of the caves.
yes, yes.
Okay, okay, okay.
Ma'am,
So,
I hope I was audible because one side it becomes so difficult, I'm not seeing anybody, any student or something.
no, no, no. They are supposed to like listen. It is a
Okay, okay,
one-way
fine.
communication.
Okay, okay, okay.
That is the challenge that we have to face. But they are very patient and audience that we have. Um I think so. There are no other questions I can see. So this is all for today. I think so for this session. So thank you so much for giving such an elaborate description about the Ajanta paintings as such, and definitely trying to motivate the students as to how they can use different aspects of visiting Ajanta caves as such, because we have different paintings, and interpretation is one thing I think so that they must learn, and they should utilize this time also in reading and learning about these different products that we have. And Ajanta, definitely, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the paintings and sculptures of Ajanta, they are the masterpieces that we have of the Buddhist art. So definitely, the students should actually try and bring out more products and packages for Ajanta, not the regular ones. So thank you for highlighting the different, you can say, the themes that they can take up for visiting to Ajanta. So I'm really thankful on behalf of IITTM. I thank you once again for being an expert for today's session. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Namaskar.
Okay, we can leave for today.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.